Hi everyone, my name is Kachi Soramwadi and I'd like to welcome you back to my YouTube channel. Before I start, I just want to say thank you for the love that you guys have been showing me, especially people that have subscribed, the viewers and all that. I really appreciate it. I promise to keep the content coming. So today I want to focus on, job seeking, especially how to present your CV. This is something that decides if someone sort of gives you a chance or not most of the time. And to those that are currently looking for a job right now and haven't had luck in the market where they've been submitting CVs, sending out emails, spending money making copies, but nothing, if ever the best that you get is, we regret to tell you, which is automated. I just want to say this. It doesn't mean that you're not gonna get those. I'm still getting those even today. I don't know how many CVs or how many emails, how many forms, how many letters that I had to write to try and penetrate the market, but with no luck whatsoever. And I just want to say this. When it comes to writing your CV, it is really up to you. We shouldn't give someone sort of this thing where it's their responsibility, to present me. Ju- Take a CV as a representation of yourself that you're putting on paper. You can go on the internet. There's so many templates out there. Uh, there's always a debate about which one works. Should I include a photo? Should I do that? I think that comes way after. The most important thing is the content, the important things that are in there. And I mean, the basics are who you are, your identification, what you put in there. You think about how you want to be known. Um, I doubt that you want someone to be reading your CV and be seeing capital letters everywhere, spacings not aligned and all those things. I mean, I'm very, very strict when it comes to small details. So I think when you focus on your CV, make sure that this is more like your final presentation. It's between life and death. And you have to also understand one thing. Sometimes you have to customize a CV according to a certain job, especially for people that maybe have multiple qualifications. At some time, it's not necessary for you to mention that, you know, uh, like for instance, in my case, to mention that I'm a geology graduate when I'm applying for a chemistry gig. Focus on the key elements that really matter. And most people, especially when you're starting out and you don't have experience, we tend to struggle on how do I then, you know, put together a CV that works. So here's what I've learned over the past years is that you can always extrapolate something from what you've learned. Um, you find someone just saying, my education, uh, from high school, I did maths, I did this and this and this. But what are the skills? What are the outputs of what you studied? I think we must start thinking that way. What can you do is really what everyone is looking at. So yes, you have a geology degree. Yes, you have a chemistry degree. But what can you do? What are the skills that put you up there that I'm looking for, that you align with this particular position? So one thing that I've always said, before you put together your CV, think about the jobs that you want to work. Be realistic. Unfortunately, in the given state that we're in, be realistic. So, what I would do is I would look at your junior lab technician for my side, your interns, everything. All the jobs that I want to sort of have and the ones that I'm going to apply, the ones that I know that I sort of qualify for. Look at those jobs, write them down, go to them, like start Googling, Google searching those job titles. Like just Google search uh, junior lab technician jobs. Get into that job, open it up. So what you'll see is like a spec of that job, of that role. So it's more of a summary of the kind of candidate that they're looking for. Open that up. Now go to the roles and the sort of the skills that the person they're looking for must have. Looking at those skills, ask yourself a question. Do you have those skills? Because I mean, sometimes the problem just becomes, listen, I'm a qualified geologist. Uh, I can look at this and this, but the interpretation of what you can do and what how they present it is basically the same, but just different wordings. So you always try and align your search with what's on the job advert. So for instance, they'll be saying like, they're looking someone that can operate this, someone that can prepare this, that can do this, and you probably have done that in your first year, second year of study. Then put that in your CV. Then you know that it's a marketable skill that people really focus on. So you can look at about 5 or 6 different what do you call it, job specs out there, and just narrow down what you think you have and what you think they're looking for, and that is what you put in your CV. You can paraphrase differently with your wording, how you want it to be, but at the end of the day, as long as you know that the skills that you've put in place are what the people in the market are currently looking for and are what you have done. Because some of the things we've done them in first year and they're asking about them there. But if you were to just write a CV out of the blue without knowing what the market is currently looking for, you're really going to struggle a bit. So first thing, write down the type of jobs that you want, look at their job specs, and try and see the skills, the responsibilities. They tell you they want someone that can interpret data. You've been interpreting data your whole life. So what makes you think you're not qualified or skilled enough to interpret data at that level? They're telling you, you know, they want someone that is well spoken or have team leading abilities. You've probably held a leadership role at a school society or at a team. Put that in. And this doesn't just go on varsity level, even in high school level. Put it in, because you're trying to sell yourself for someone that doesn't know you. And that person has already told you what they're looking for. You don't really want to stray away. So the best thing is to put together what they're looking for and then put additional what you have. So if you start going through job specification, you'll start getting used to the language on how they really want certain things. And that's mainly a hack, because you are aligning your job search with the with the job spec. So that's the other thing. That part comes mostly your education, uh, where you're explaining you passed this and this, your subjects. At the end, for my CV, my presentation of my CV, as much as I say, I've studied at this place, yeah, this and this, at the end, I always say skills uh, that I've attained, and then I just put it there. From that degree, I've attained, data interpretation skills, reagent preparation, this and this and this, at a school level. And then if you have worked before, then you can just put your responsibilities aligned with what you were doing in that particular role. So that's the key thing when it comes to that, because everyone always comes on like, but I don't have anything to put. Are you telling me for the past 12 years of your primary and high school years, the output is zero? No. You did maths. You have numeracy skills, you can count, uh, you have problem solving skills, you've done investigations at high school level. So always put it at that point and build up the skills, interpret the output, understand why you were doing something, and then you can put it out there. And then sometimes some jobs don't have to make it into the CV. Like I said, you have to customize according to the jobs that you're looking for. It's always very important to know the role that you're applying for. That's why it's okay. It's very best of you to look at the job spec that you're applying for. And the other trick is this: because you're applying for so many roles, and this is a true story and a funny story as well. When you're applying for so many roles, you get to a point where you might get a call and ask they ask you for an interview and you don't even remember that job. You don't know the role. You don't know the name of the company. You don't. So what I'll always do when I was job hunting is that I will have a folder where I save all uh, the job specs of the jobs that I'm applying for. So that if I ever get fortunate enough to get called for an interview, I can always get back to the job spec um, and then look at sort of what they wanted. And then when I'm preparing for my interview, which we'll cover at a later stage, when I'm preparing for my interview, I can sort of align my understanding of the company and background of that role with the job spec. So another trick that we can take from all this, I mean, we have covered looking at the job spec, aligning your content with the job spec. We have looked at saving the job specs. I mean, listening to this, you can already tell we haven't really come to the format of the CV. We've just talked about the guidelines of putting together a CV. And, you know, everyone is different. Some people are presented differently. So there's so many ways to present a CV. These days there are apps where they can customize your CVs with different colors and make it a one page. But I'm still old school. I still prefer PDF. I still go to the limit of 3 pages per CV. So that's me. Some people prefer those fancy ones where you're paying someone to do it for you. And this is the other thing, for me personally, I believe that if something is so important to me, think about it this way. You went through school to study and to sort of present yourself very well, to achieve what you have achieved, to finally graduate, and you want someone to represent that for you? No. If you have committed at least 4 years of your life or 5 years or more studying, you really can't commit a day learning about putting together a CV that is effective. I think we should do better on that. I mean, sometimes I walk into an internet cafe and I see someone saying, please type my CV, this and this, and normally the person just, it's in a rush. It's just a mess. And the thing is, for them, it doesn't matter. They don't understand the background story of what it means for you, you know. So the other hack is this, and this is very important. This has helped me so much. This helped me so much. Find people, it's either you can find a mentor that can look through your CV or find someone amongst the people that you job seeking with, all that stuff, to sort of have a feel of like just ask someone to review your CV and ask them to be as real as possible. Ask them if you are ever in a position to sort of scan through a CV, looking at my CV, do you think you'll give me a chance? This is something amazing because what happened was when I was job seeking, um, my friend Faith was also in that situation, and then at that time, Faith was getting gigs and I was struggling, and I had to bring myself down to accept. And I asked her, I was like, listen, I'm struggling with this CV thing. Do you mind if we sort of, you know you go through my CV and just check? And I sent her my CV, and lucky enough, she sent me hers. And just by sending me her CV, at that point, true story, I felt like I wasn't doing enough for my CV. When you're looking at someone else's CV and you're like, wow, I would hire them over me, even though I'm like struggling to get a job, but they sort of deserve a job more than me because the presentation was just amazing. And that helped me because I had something to compare with, and then I could sort of rectify the mistakes, and also the pointers that they gave back sort of helped me. And I really think if you have someone that you can entrust your CV with, uh, just send it to them and say, listen, this is the setup that I currently have. Do you think there's something I can do to improve it? Do you think, what do you think is lacking? What do you think I need to do? How can I align it? And you'll be amazed by how much that will give you light, because then you can see that, what other people are doing out there, and then it can help to improve your CV skills. So I think for that, please find someone who can review your CV. I've been fortunate enough, at some instances I've had recruiters who were sort of in my connection lines where I could ask, and then I got that. So that's one thing. So please. So now still we haven't really talked about a CV, but I want you to go to, the internet and search CV templates. Don't go 2020 CV. Just say see best CV templates that works or something. You can even download 6 of them. And this is, like I'm saying, you're taking ownership of your own career. Download as many as you want. Put them together and look at all the templates on your own. Decide which one works for you, because you like, oh, this one I feel like here they're being too much, I don't have this, but this one focuses on me, and then you can align. This is the other thing, I think it's a hack as well. Just because you open a template doesn't mean you have to stick to everything it says. You might just like one outline about it, then take another one. So you incorporate different template style in one major template, and you make your key CV. I wouldn't tell you how to particularly write your CV. For me, that's not what I want to focus on this channel. I just want to give you the guidelines, the storyline on what you can do, when it comes to experience, the jobs that you're looking for. Search them, see the spec, align. Um, all those things, include them. Your skills are very important, what you can do. And here's the other thing. Now you probably have put together an amazing CV. It looks amazing, and you've probably had someone that you trust review your CV, which is good. Now you want to send your CV. When you save your CV, please don't just say CV1, CV2. Don't do that. Write your name and say, maybe like I name mine Kagiso Ramoadi CV, or CV underscore Kagiso Ramoadi. Give it a name. It's you at the end of the day. And the one thing I gain about a CV is this: by job seeking for that long, I've sort of developed a process where I know my CV by heart. Where if a recruiter or someone is sitting across the table and they're asking me about something in the CV, I know about it because I've went through my CV so many times. I've edited my CV a million times, because someday I'm like, ugh, this doesn't work, this works, whatever. But that's the thing. It should, after a certain reject number, see what you can do, adjust, align. Remember, the best way to sort of improve at something is to always evolve in learning. Allow yourself to learn. You can't just become that person that say this works and then I'm sticking to it. No. The world we're living in is forever evolving. So keep in touch with the market. That's very important. Yeah, man, I think for now I'll leave it there. I know like maybe most people expected that we'll go through, in a CV, this and this, but I hope the tips that I've shared can sort of help you now to navigate um, on presentation of a CV. But also there's one thing, for those of you who like, there's some material that I have like that guides you on writing proper CVs. It's an ebook that was once shared by my very close friend Skiddles the Dudette. I really appreciate it. I still use it to this day. She shared it while I was unemployed, and I think we were both job seeking at the time, and I still use it to this day. So if you feel like uh, that might be useful for you as well, please, on the comment section, just comment with your email address, and I'll forward you the ebooks. They're very helpful. So all the best on job seeking. I just want to say that, job seeking is unfortunately one of the most hardest thing. It can kill your spirit. It can damage your belief. You start questioning, did I really study the right thing? What's wrong with me? Those kind of things. I always say this, that there is a reason that you're going through something, and you must always allow yourself to learn through situations. When something is happening to you, be open to accept that you might learn something through it. It might be very useful. Sometimes the person that's gonna give you your first gig is not even gonna ask you for your CV. It might be someone you're communicating with, and by what you're saying, they will believe that yes, you are the right candidate. So we must always be, try to improve our attitude towards job seeking. It's draining, trust me. You can imagine 2 years. I mean, I was destroyed. My faith was tested to a point where I sort of lost some bit of faith, because I'm like, I went through the hardest thing of studying, and then now job seeking is not really working out for me. So you're not alone out there. It's a trial and error. Unfortunately, we learn every day, and even by saying and trying to give you these tips, I'm not guaranteeing that you will get a job. But if you use them and then use other skills that are out there, it sort of gives you a better chance. You know that you've done everything on your side to improve the chance for you to get it. I think the best thing is knowing that you've done your 100%. That is amazing, because then on your side nothing is questionable. Then you can question the system when it comes to that. So please, remember guys, stay safe, uh, be positive, motivate yourself, don't give up, because just because someone's time is happening right now and yours is not, it doesn't mean yours will never come. You must believe in yourself that it's part of the process. Your time will come and you'll get it too. uh, Please, if you have any other question, please hit me up in the comment section, and I'll be happy to address them. And like I said, if you're interested in the materials that I have, please comment with your email address and I'll send them to you. Thank you so much. Bye.